Assalamualaikum. My name is Hassan Riaz, and today I will present you uh, my presentation. And my topic is Node.js. First, we learn what is Node.js. Node.js is an open source server-side JavaScript runtime environment, uh, which is built on Chrome JavaScript engine, which is V8. And Node.js runs single-threaded, non-blocking, asynchronous programming, which is very memory efficient. Node.js. There are some note about Node.js. Node.js is not any framework. Node.js is not any programming. Node.js is not multi-threading. But it is a JavaScript runtime environment where we can run JavaScript code without any browser. As we are not using browser, so we cannot use a DOM in our Node.js. So we cannot use a document or Windows object in Node. There are some uses of Node.js. Through Node.js, we can create backend server, REST APIs, and we can also perform file reading and write operation. And there are some companies which are using Node.js, which are PayPal, NASA, eBay, Netflix, LinkedIn, Uber. There is a concept of modules in Node.js. Module is a set of function that you want to include in your application. There are two types of modules: uh, built-in and user-defined modules. Built-in that are provided with Node.js, and we can also use it with npm package, or and other are user-defined, create, which user create. We can also use it in our JS app, Node.js application. Uh, to create user defined modules, we create a separate file and export this export function. And to use our function, we use require function. First, you should download the Node.js from Node.js official website, nodejs.org, and download the Node.js according to your operating system. I am installing Windows, uh, so I already installed it and will skip it. Uh, First, you should check it is installed on your PC or not. Check type node minus version in command prompt, and it will display node version. And to check npm version, you can type npm minus version. Npm is a node package manager which can use to install or uninstall packages in our node application. To use directory, we can also use node directly in our terminal. Type node, and we can use node get directory. For example, type node control log sn, then we can then it will print sn. It, no, we can also use it in our in our in a js file. I have created different apps. uh, First one is first we'll explain how to use modules, user-defined modules, and how to export and import and use it in our uh, app file. First, create a lib.js file. To export single function, we can use export of function name, and we can also write body here. And similarly, we can also use module.export. and and to export multiple function, we can use module.export. And here is a dictionary of object which is an associative array. First one is a function name, and second one is a function body. I am using the arrow function for the body. So I can use it. I can use all these function in a separate JS file. To use this file, we have to use require function, and the require function we will type address of the uh, our uh, file, which is a lib file, and we can save it in mylib. through mylib we can use different functions which are exported in lib file. First one is my welcome function which is printing as str, which will print name, and we can check it definition. Welcome message print hi and welcome. If I run this app 0, you can see its output. It is printed hi as and there is also a object destruction concept in ES6. We can separate uh, separate variables using this object destruction concept. Now I will show you how to create a HTTP server in Node.js. Uh, HTTP is a built-in modules in Node.js. First, I will export in. I will use it to use this. I will use require HTTP and save it in HTTP. And to create a server, there is a command http.create server. It and we create a function here that accept two parameters. First one is request and second one is response. If I comment this code and I restore and type restore and now our application. Uh, First we create a HTTP and HTTP object, and then we create server, and we print a message. We return the response from here. And to use this server, we have to set port for it. I am using port process.environment port for 3000. If this port 3000 port is available, then it will use 3000. Otherwise, it will use any free port for our Node.js application, and use server.listen and pass port to it. Now I will run this node this app which is app one, and we can use it. Um, Open the browser and check localhost address 127.0.0.1 3000, and you can see here it is printing hello. To use routing in a Node.js, we need to use we need to separate our URL request. There is a parameter request we can which contain different values of one of them is URL. We can use request to URL, and that will first we will convert the URL into lowercase, and I will check a URL. If it is a root, then it will print welcome to Node.js. If and second check is for about root, and third is contact. If there is no if there is no uh, other root which is not available in this, then it will print 40404 page not found. If I run this again, and this index, this is root, and it is printing welcome to Node.js. If I am trying to access about request, then it will print this line about page. And similarly, I can use contact. And if I use any other wrong request, then it will print 404 page not found. Hope you can understand it easily. And Now I will come to app.js. Now we'll use Express for our Node.js, which will which can we can use it easily to create a request and separate URL for it. To use Express, we need to install a package npm type npm I express. Then it will download and install Express in our current directory. Uh, Now we can use it in our code. Uh, Type require Express and then create an instance of Express. Uh, then assign it to app, and we can use a port here and create. Now assign a port to it, to our app, Express app to listen port. And when this when our Node.js is application is running, then it will execute this function which is printing a port. And there are to use routing in Express. We use app dot app.get, app.post, app.delete. And first we define URL request, routing request, and we'll write function that will execute according with this request. There is a function send file, which can send static file uh, to the browser. Uh, if I am if I run this code, then it will serve the static file. If I show you static file which is in public folder, which is and you can see it is only simple home page, and with the name file, with the input field and submit button. We are in uh, app 2. And second is about root. You know it very well. We can use rest root and or send method for this, to separate routing in different folder. In separate file we create index file, and we create all the routing in the index file. For example, if I write test route, first I need to use Express for this. And I am using Express row router for routing. And I am assigning it to router. And I am to find a routing. We use router dot uh, request type, which is get, and type for request URL, and type a function here. For this request, this function will be executed. And we also need to export this. So we'll write module.export and assign a router. If there are multiple routes, we can use it here. Simply export here. You need to only use this router, and we can add multiple route here. We can use it in our app to here. First require the index file and save it to router. uh, to set the route, to use this route, to use all the route. We need to specify, tell the app to use this router. App.use, and type URL request, and pass router object. If I run this test file, sorry, if I run this test request, then it will print test page. For example, if I type then it is printing a test page which is in index test page which is in index.js file. So we learn how to use routing in different files, uh, and similarly, if you want to if you want to receive data from a HTML file, we can use it uh, using app.post, and I am receiving post equals add name, and I'm setting function here which is receiving uh, all the request uh, forum name. First I come to this index.file. This page is basically a button. If I run this file, you can check it. You can check this page. This is a simple page which is taking input field and add button. When I add when I enter name and add click on add button, then it will add in this list which is in. I can show you here. It will append in this name list object. This is our HTML file, and when this form is submitted, it will come to add name, and its request method is post. So we need to define a request to add name, and request method is post. So we'll type add.post, and we'll type add name. So when form is submit, it will come here. And first, to use the forum data in our Node.js application, first we need use the body parser uh, module here. Uh, First use body parser, and set the app.use body parser dot URL incomplete, and pass extended files, so we can use it easily in our code. Through this request object, uh, uh, through body, I can access all the parameter which is passing through the forum. We are passing here name, so I can access it using app dot request dot body dot name, and I am saving this name into the name list object, and printing my name list, and I am redirecting to uh, route index route. So let's run this program. This is our index homepage. If I type sn and I add to home button, then you can check uh, in our list sn is here. If I type here Ali, then it will be appended into our name list. It is also printing in sn in our name list. Now there are two names here in sn and Ali. To display this data in a separate HTML file, we can use uh, the EJS file, uh, where we can use template literals for dynamic data. First, we need to define set the views and folder where our EJS file is located. which our EGS file located in public folder, and we are setting engine view engine is EGS, and I am setting name request get request, and there is a method render function for dynamic web pages. We need to use a render method, uh, response.render, and type dir name return the current directory name, and our EGS file is created in public folder, and the file name is name.egs, and pass this data into our in a JavaScript object in JSON format. The data which is passed is data, and its value is nameless. Here data is a key, and a name, and this name list is our key. We can use multiple data here. Currently I am sending a single name list object here, and we come to EGS file here. EGS uh, is a template file used to use dynamic used to create dynamic web pages. This is a syntax of AGS, which is first we start with the left small bracket, and we type percentage, and we can use JavaScript code for dynamic for the data we are that we pass it. I pass data, and data is a key, and through key I am setting name list. First I am checking the list is empty or not. If it is not empty, then I'm creating a loop uh, according to length of the name list, and I'm returning all the data in the table, and is else body which is printing no data. If I check name request, then it will display all the names which I will enter in this home page. If I type Hamza and come to the name object, sorry, name request, then Hamza is also available here. So you learn uh, how to pass data in HTML file in Node.js. In next step, I will show you uh, how to use file in Node.js. Uh, there is a module fs for files file read write operation. First we use required fs, and we also need to use path for file naming where our file is stated. I am setting file path.join method, and directory name which is current directory, and the file name which is data.txt. You can see all the data is here. If I delete this, if I only this is the data which is in our txt file. If I comment all the code below and run this app, and you can check, and you will check this data is printed from data.txt file. If I write a new text, then and I am taking this new text is also printing here. Now I will explain how to this is a basic syntax of how to use file reading operation. Use fs.read file method, and pass address of the file and pass a function which receives two parameter. If the file doesn't, if there is an error for during file reading, then it will print this error message. Otherwise, we will receive our data and we will print it. We need to convert it into to string uh, to our data. Similarly, there is a method to write data into a file, which is fs.write file method is used to write data into a file. Uh, First parameter is file path, and second parameter is data which we want to write, and third one is a function which receive error parameter. If the data is if there is an error, then we will print uh, error message. Otherwise, we will print file return successful. In file write operation, our old data is deleted and new data will write, which means our old data will be overwritten. For example, this all data will be deleted and new data will be written, which is only BCS F18 and M009 will be written. And if you check here, BCS F18 and M009 is printed is saved in our text file. There is also a method for a file for appending the data into a file, which is fs.append file. First one is a file path, and second one is uh, data which we want to append into our file, and third one is function which is saving error. If there is an error, we are printing error message. Otherwise, we will printing file saved. If I run this, and you can check our both are printing. First one is bcell f18m09, which is from return of file write, and second one is append file of SNDRs, which is from this append file function. Now I will come to app 4, which will in this app I will explain how to create APIs in Express. I have already created it. I am creating dummy data, uh, which is storing ID name. I am and I create a function get student, which uh, which which is saving ID. First, it set the student according to ID from this list and return it. If it available, then it is return. Otherwise, it is return the code not found. And I will attach it using Postman. And this is and I am setting all the requests for our APIs. This is home request. This is student request. That will return all the data from this list. We are returning here JSON data. So dbh.data will return all these data from this get request of student. And similarly, there is a request. Uh, uh, we are passing ID here. Through this ID, we can get the code of a student through using ID. To use this ID in our code, we use request.params.id. We can use it. We already get the student function which is receiving ID. If and we will send this data. It will print the code of the student with this ID, and this is a put request which will save a new record in our student list. I am Here I am always storing dummy data, and I am storing length plus one uh, for ID. and I am storing name, new name, dummy name, and after all this, I am returning this all the data, and this is update a request. It is receiving ID, and first we will get the student from the student. Uh, First we will get the student, and we will check the student is available or not in our student list. If it is not available, then we will return a code not found. Otherwise, we will set update the name of the student, and we also return this data. um, and there is a delete request. It is receiving ID, and first we will set the student according to this ID. If the if index is greater than or equal to 0, which means the student is available. So we will delete this student using a dba.data.separate method, and we will return all the data, and else we will return the code does not found. Similarly, there are other two requests for contact us and login. Let me run this. Let me run this code. There is error, which is app.update is not a function. Let me check it. I am commenting this code. Let me run this again. No, I will run my postman. No, I will test all the APIs. It will take some time. Please wait. No, our postman is running. It will take moment. No, I will test APIs in our postman. There are multiple requests here. I am using all the requests: get, put, delete, update, and our server is running. So I will copy our URL for our Express server, and there is a get request. If I run this, it will return hello world. Now I will test other request, which is student. it will return all the student list in JSON format, and you can see it, all the records are here. And if I try to delete any record, then I need to uh, pass parameter here with id2 uh, with student id. I am typing here id2, so it will delete the record of student with id2, which is student name is Fakshue. If I send this request, and it deleted the data. If I check again the student request, um, so sorry, I need to set get post get post here. when i when I am checking here again, student with id2 is deleted successfully. If I type here post, if I set post and send the request here, then it will similarly I can check uh, put request with id2 with id1. If I check all the records, we can see id1 with the name is Hasan Riaz, and id 4 is Fateh Sultan Kazmi. And if I check uh, id3, it will run Suleiman Suhail. And if I check, if I send request of put, then it will update the name of. Sorry, if I run this request, put request, then it will store a new record with new name. So our put request is working, and our delete request is also working, and our get request is are working. So you learn how to use APIs in Node.js. In the next step, there is an example how to use database in Node.js. We to use database, we need to use MySQL to. First, we need to install this MySQL 2 package from using npm. So while type npm, I would install MySQL 2. Uh, so our MySQL 2 package will be installed in our current environment. To use database, we can use MySQL.create connection, and it receive a JavaScript object with key values where host and host. We type here localhost, and our user we setting password and database for our database connection. After this connection, we can check it connection.connect, and we are passing it error. If there is an error, it will throw exception. Otherwise will print connection successfully. Currently, I am running the or fetching all the data from the database from a DB test DB, and you can see all the record of the from the test DB from the table user. All these records are displayed from this will be shown in this application. So I will run this application through using node app 5.js, and you can see all the records are displaying here from the database. If I insert a new record here, then it will also displayed in the. For example, if I store a new data here in summa with weight 26, and I am checking here all the data from user, and you can see it here. A summa is saved here, and if I check again, if I run this Node.js application again, and you can see summa is also here. To separate the columns from the from our, uh, we can use the result of I of dot name. It will in this example I am printing printing name and age of the user separately. That is all my presentation. Hope you learn a lot from this presentation. Thank you. I will meet you in the next video. Thank you. Take care.